I never thought I'd be the type of person to snoop through my husband's pockets, but there I was, standing in our walk-in closet at 11:30 at night, holding a crumpled receipt that made my stomach turn. My name is Marlo, and until 10 minutes ago, I was just a normal nurse practitioner with a seemingly perfect life. 20 years of marriage, a beautiful daughter, and a husband who still brought me coffee every morning. At least, that's what I thought I had. The receipt was from Le Petit Jardin, one of those fancy French restaurants downtown where you need reservations months in advance. $280 for dinner for two, including a bottle of Chateau Margaux. Ethan and I hadn't been there since our 10th anniversary, and he knew I didn't drink red wine anymore. It triggered my migraines. Mom, Olivia's voice made me jump. I shoved the receipt into my pocket as she appeared in the doorway, already in her pajamas. What are you doing in here? Just organizing your father's dry cleaning. I lied, gesturing to the pile of suits I'd been pretending to sort. Shouldn't you be studying for your calculus test? She rolled her eyes. I'm taking a break. Dad just called. He's staying late at the office again. Some big presentation tomorrow. Of course he is. I forced a smile, though my chest felt tight. Third time this week. You okay, Mom? You look weird. Just tired, honey. I walked over and kissed her forehead, breathing in the familiar scent of her strawberry shampoo. Don't stay up too late. After Olivia went back to her room, I sat on the edge of our bed, pulling out my phone. My fingers hovered over Ethan's number. But what would I say? Hey, honey, quick question. Who were you whining and dining at Le Petit Jardin last Thursday? Instead, I opened my photos and took pictures of the receipt from every angle. Something in my gut told me I might need them later. The sound of the garage door opening downstairs made me jump again. I quickly returned the receipt to Ethan's jacket pocket, exactly how I'd found it. Marlo? His voice carried up the stairs, followed by his footsteps. You still up? I grabbed a random book from my nightstand and pretended to read just as he walked in, his tie loosened and hair slightly disheveled. He looked exhausted, but there was something else, a lightness in his movements that seemed out of place for someone who'd been working late. How is the presentation prep? I asked, trying to keep my voice casual. Brutal. He loosened his tie completely. Marketing's really pushing for this new campaign. You know how it goes. I did know how it went. I'd heard this explanation so many times lately, I could probably recite it in my sleep. You should have seen the dinner they ordered in, he continued, heading for the shower. Chinese takeout from that place on 5th. Not exactly Le Petit Jardin, but it did the job. My hand clenched around my book. He was lying so smoothly, I almost doubted myself. Almost. Dad. Olivia appeared again, this time with her calculus book. Can you help me with this problem? Mom's hopeless at math. Sure, princess. He smiled at her. That special smile he reserved just for our daughter. Let me grab a quick shower first. As they chatted about her homework, I watched them, feeling like I was seeing them through glass. When had I become the outsider in my own family? Later that night, as Ethan slept soundly beside me, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The receipt felt like it was burning a hole in my brain. Tomorrow, I decided I would make a call to Tommy Hayes. We'd gone to high school together, and now he was a private investigator. I'd looked him up months ago, when I first started noticing something was off, but had talked myself out of it. Not this time. This time, I needed to know the truth, even if it destroyed everything I thought I knew about my life. Tommy's office looked exactly like I'd expected. Cheap coffee maker in the corner, manila folders everywhere, and blinds that had seen better days. What I hadn't expected was how nervous I'd be, sitting across from someone I used to share algebra notes with, asking him to investigate my husband. You sure about this, Marlo? Tommy leaned back in his chair, looking more distinguished than he had in high school, despite the coffee stains on his tie. Once we start digging, we might find things you can't unknow. I pulled out my phone and showed him the receipt photos. I'm already finding things I can't unknow. At least this way, I'll have the whole truth. He nodded, studying the images. The restaurant's interesting. It's right across from Collins Marketing, where Ethan works. Popular spot for their executives. How do you know that? Had a case there last year. CEO's daughter works there too. Young hotshot named Jenna Collins. Real ambitious type. Something about the way he said it made my stomach clench. Before I could ask more, my phone buzzed with a text from Olivia. Going to Dad's office after school. Working on college apps with his new marketing assistant. Don't wait up. Hongxing. Everything okay? Tommy asked, noticing my expression. My daughter's been spending a lot of time at Ethan's office lately. Says she's getting career advice. I looked up at Tommy. How much do you charge? We spent the next hour working out the details. As I wrote the check, I tried not to think about how this money was supposed to go toward Olivia's summer program. That evening, I made Ethan's favorite lasagna, hoping to coax some family time out of what felt like increasingly separate lives. The kitchen filled with familiar smells, but something felt off, like trying to recreate a photograph where everyone's smiling. But you can't remember what the joke was. Olivia breezed in around 7, practically glowing. Mom, you'll never believe it. Jenna's helping me with my marketing internship application. She's amazing. She went to Stanford too, just like where I want to go. Jenna? I kept my voice steady, though my hands shook slightly as I plated the food. That's your dad's new assistant? Well, she's more like junior executive now. Dad says she's the youngest person they've ever promoted so fast. Olivia grabbed her plate, already heading for the stairs. Can I eat in my room? I have to finish this application. Actually, I thought we could eat together tonight. As a family. I looked at her hopefully. Your father should be home soon. She rolled her eyes. Mom, this is important. It's my future. You're always saying I need to focus on college stuff. I know, but let her work, honey. Ethan's voice startled me. I hadn't heard him come in. He kissed my cheek, but his cologne smelled different, sweeter, more floral. That's my girl, always hustling. Olivia beamed at him before disappearing upstairs. I watched Ethan loosen his tie, noting how he seemed more energized than usual after a long day. How's the new assistant working out? I asked casually, serving his plate. Jenna? She's great. Real go-getter. He took a bite of lasagna. This is good, but did you use a different recipe? Tastes different. Same recipe as always. I set my fork down, suddenly not hungry. You're just not home for dinner much anymore to remember what it tastes like. He looked up, something flickering in his eyes before his phone buzzed. He checked it, smiling slightly at the screen. Sorry, work thing, he muttered, typing rapidly. On a private number? The words slipped out before I could stop them. His head snapped up. What? Nothing. I stood, gathering my barely touched dinner. I'm tired. Think I'll turn in early. Later, lying in bed, I heard Ethan and Olivia laughing downstairs, sharing some private joke. My phone lit up with a text from Tommy. Found something. Meet tomorrow? I typed back, yes, with trembling fingers, then deleted our conversation thread. Rolling over, I noticed Ethan's side of the bed was still empty, though it was nearly midnight. Downstairs, I could hear him on the phone, speaking too softly for me to make out the words. Sleep didn't come easily that night, but determination did. Tomorrow, I'd start getting answers, whether I wanted them or not. The manila envelope sat between us on Tommy's desk like a live grenade. His face told me everything I needed to know before he even opened it. Maybe you should sit down for this, Marlo. I remained standing. Just show me. He spread out the photos one by one. Ethan and a young woman, stunning, probably mid-20s, having lunch at Le Petit Jardin. The same pair walking through the park, his hand on the small of her back. Another at a hotel bar, leaning close, laughing at some private joke. That's Jenna Collins, Tommy said quietly. CEO's daughter. But there's more. The next photo made my knees buckle. Olivia was there, sitting with them at an outdoor cafe, looking more relaxed than I'd seen her in months. They looked like a family, the kind that shares inside jokes and doesn't worry about college applications or curfews. How long? My voice sounded strange, distant. Based on credit card records, hotel bookings, about 8 months. Tommy hesitated. Olivia started showing up in the surveillance about 6 weeks ago. I picked up the cafe photo, studying my daughter's face. She knows. She's known all along. There's something else. Tommy pulled out his phone, playing a video. It was Olivia and Jenna shopping, trying on dresses and taking selfies together. They've been spending a lot of time together. Jenna's been mentoring her, I guess you could say. The reality hit me like a physical blow. Not only was my husband sleeping with another woman, but my daughter had chosen her too. They'd built a whole separate life while I was working extra shifts at the hospital, thinking I was providing for our family's future. I need to go. I gathered the photos with shaking hands. Marlo, wait. Tommy caught my arm. There's more evidence if you need it for the divorce. Divorce? I repeated the word, testing how it felt. 17 years of marriage reduced to a legal term. I drove aimlessly for hours, the envelope burning a hole in my passenger seat. Every red light brought another memory. Ethan teaching Olivia to ride a bike, family vacations where we'd stay up late playing board games. The way he used to bring me coffee in bed every Sunday morning. My phone buzzed with a text from Olivia. Having dinner with Dad and Jenna to discuss internship stuff. Don't wait up. 2 hearts. I pulled over, my vision blurring. The casual way she'd written Jenna's name. Like she wasn't the woman destroying our family. Like this was normal. Without thinking, I drove to Collins Marketing. The building was mostly dark except for a few offices. I spotted them through the window of the top-floor restaurant. Ethan, Jenna, and Olivia, laughing over what looked like dessert. Jenna was showing Olivia something on her phone while Ethan watched them both with undisguised affection.
My phone buzzed again.
Ethan this time. Working late. Don't hold dinner. The lie was so casual, so practiced. How many times had I read similar messages and believed them? How many family dinners had I kept warm, only to wrap them up and put them away untouched? I watched as Jenna touched Ethan's arm, leaving her hand there longer than necessary. Olivia didn't even blink. This was her normal now. They were building memories without me, creating inside jokes I'd never understand, sharing moments I couldn't reclaim. The tears finally came, hot and angry. I thought about the college fund I'd been building for Olivia since she was born, the extra shifts I'd picked up to make sure she could go anywhere she wanted, all while she was planning her future with the woman who'd stolen her father. My phone buzzed one more time. Tommy. There's more if you want to see it. But maybe what you need isn't more evidence. Maybe it's a plan. I wiped my eyes, looking up at the happy scene in the restaurant window. They hadn't noticed me sitting here, hadn't spared a thought for where I was or what I was doing. Well, they'd notice soon enough. I started my car, my mind already spinning with possibilities. They wanted to play happy families? Fine. But first, they were going to learn what it felt like to lose everything they took for granted. Starting with that college fund. The real estate agent's smile never wavered as she showed me around the empty medical office space. It's perfect for a wellness clinic, she said, gesturing to the large windows overlooking downtown. Previous tenant was a chiropractor, so all the basic infrastructure is here. I walked through the rooms, mentally placing equipment, imagining the possibilities. For 15 years, I dreamed about opening my own holistic healthcare practice. Now, Olivia's college fund sat in my account, waiting to be redirected. My phone buzzed, another text from her. Got the Stanford interview. Jenna's helping me prep this weekend. She's seriously the best. I closed the message, without responding. Let Jenna help her practice for interviews she'd never get to attend. The lease terms are quite favorable, the agent continued. And the location. I'll take it, I interrupted. When can I move in? Later that afternoon, I sat in my car outside the bank, staring at the withdrawal slip in my hands. 17 years of extra shifts and careful saving, all about to be transformed into something else entirely. My finger hovered over Olivia's number, some maternal instinct still wanting to warn her, to give her one last chance. Instead, I called Tommy. You sure about this? He asked after I explained my plan. Using the college fund, that's not something you can undo. They're already planning her future without me, I said, watching people stream in and out of the bank. Why shouldn't I plan mine without them? Because you're better than they are. His voice was gentle but firm. And because there might be another way. What do you mean? I did some digging into Colin's marketing. Seems Jenna's been moving company funds around, making some questionable investments. If Ethan's involved, he is. I cut in. He handles all their major accounts. Then maybe instead of burning your daughter's future, we could. A knock on my car window made me jump. Ethan stood there, looking concerned. I quickly ended the call. Everything okay? He asked as I rolled down the window. I saw your car from the coffee shop. Fine, I said, trying to hide the withdrawal slip. Just running errands. His eyes caught the bank logo. Is this about Olivia's college fund? Because I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I think we should let her use some of it for that summer program Jenna recommended. The casual way he said her name, like she had any right to make decisions about our daughter's future, made something snap inside me. Actually, I said, stepping out of the car, I was thinking of investing it differently. What do you mean? I pointed to the empty medical office across the street. I'm opening my own clinic. His face went through several expressions: confusion, disbelief, anger. That's Olivia's money. For Stanford. No, it's my money. From my extra shifts and overtime. While you were having dinner with your girlfriend. The color drained from his face. Marlo, don't. I held up my hand. Just don't. You and Jenna can figure out how to pay for Stanford. I'm sure with all that marketing money floating around, you'll find a way. Understanding dawned in his eyes. You've been investigating me. Investigating you? I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. I didn't need to investigate you, Ethan. You and Jenna did a pretty good job of flaunting everything yourselves. Even got our daughter involved in the performance. He grabbed my arm as I turned to leave. Whatever you think you know. I know enough. I pulled away, and soon everyone else will too. Walking into the bank, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. Behind me, I could see Ethan on his phone, probably warning Jenna. Let them worry. Let them wonder what else I knew about their creative accounting. I filled out the withdrawal slip with steady hands, ready to invest in my own future for once. They'd taken my family, my trust, my daughter's loyalty. But they couldn't take this moment of choosing myself, of turning betrayal into opportunity. The teller smiled as she processed the transaction. Would you like a receipt? Yes, I said, thinking of that first restaurant receipt that started it all. I definitely want to keep track of everything. I spread the photos across our dining room table like a twisted family album. Each one told its own story. Ethan and Jenna's secret dates, Olivia's complicit smiles, their perfect little world that didn't include me. The front door opened just as I placed Tommy's financial records beside them. Mom, Olivia called out. Dad's car is here, but he's not. She stopped dead when she saw the display. What is this? Where's your father? My voice sounded calmer than I felt. He's picking up Jenna. We're supposed to discuss my internship. Her eyes locked on a photo of the three of them laughing at Le Petit Jardin. You've been spying on us? Spying implies you were trying to hide something. I picked up one of the financial documents. Though I suppose your father and Jenna were hiding quite a bit. The front door opened again. Ethan's voice carried through the house, followed by a feminine laugh that made my skin crawl. Olivia? Your mom's car is here. Ethan froze in the doorway, Jenna nearly bumping into him from behind. Perfect timing, I said, watching their faces as they took in the scene. I thought we could all have a family discussion about creative accounting and college funds. Jenna stepped forward, her confidence wavering. Marlo, I can explain. Can you explain why my daughter calls you for advice instead of me? I pushed a photo toward her. Or why you're playing mother to my child while sleeping with my husband? That's enough. Ethan moved between us, but I noticed how he positioned himself slightly closer to Jenna. Olivia, go to your room.
No.
I stood up. She stays. She should hear how her perfect mentor has been embezzling company funds to finance her lifestyle. How her father's been helping cover it up. You don't know what you're talking about, Ethan snapped, but his eyes darted to the financial records. Don't I? I turned to Olivia. Did they tell you where your internship funding was really coming from? Or how that summer program they promised you might disappear when the audit hits. Olivia's face paled. What audit? The one Tommy's evidence triggered this morning. I watched Jenna's composed facade crack. Funny how quickly the SEC responds to whistleblowers. You had no right. Ethan's voice shook with rage. This isn't just about us anymore. You're destroying everything. No, you destroyed everything. I slammed my hand on the table, sending photos scattering. You destroyed our family the moment you chose her. And you. I turned to Olivia. You chose them too. Well, guess what? I'm choosing me. Mom, please. Olivia's voice cracked. We can fix this. Fix what? The fact that you've been lying to me for months? That you helped them hide their affair? My laugh sounded hollow. Or maybe you want to fix the fact that I used your college fund to start my own business? The silence was deafening. Olivia stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. You did what? Ethan stepped forward, but Jenna grabbed his arm. We should go, she whispered urgently. If there's really an audit. Running already? I picked up my phone. Should I call your father now, Jenna? Tell him how his daughter and his star executive have been cooking his books. Mom, stop. Olivia was crying now. This isn't you. No. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her, and saw the fear in her eyes. Not fear of the situation, but fear of me. Maybe you don't know who I am anymore. Just like I don't know who you are. Jenna pulled Ethan toward the door, whispering frantically about damage control. Olivia stood frozen between us, tears streaming down her face. Choose carefully, Olivia, I said quietly, because this time there's no going back. She looked between me and her father, who was already following Jenna out. In that moment, I saw her make her choice. As she ran after them, I sat back down at the table, surrounded by the evidence of my destroyed family. The front door slammed, and the house fell silent. I picked up my phone and dialed Tommy's number. It's done, I said when he answered. Now, let's finish what they started. The line went quiet for a moment before Tommy responded. Marlo, are you sure this is what you want? I looked at the empty doorway where my family had stood moments ago. Want?
No.
But it's what they deserve. The news about Collins Marketing's financial scandal broke on a Wednesday. By Friday, my clinic's waiting room furniture had arrived, and Olivia had blocked my number. I watched the movers arrange chairs while my phone buzzed with another call from Tommy, probably warning me again about how my revenge plan had spiraled too far. I let it go to voicemail. The local business journal's headline glared from my laptop. Collins Marketing under federal investigation. CEO's daughter and senior executive named in probe. Below was a photo of Ethan and Jenna leaving the federal building, his hand protectively on her back, the same gesture I'd seen in Tommy's surveillance photos.
My phone buzzed again.
This time, an unknown number. Is this what you wanted? Jenna's voice was raw. To destroy everyone? I sat on one of the newly delivered chairs, watching the movers struggle with the reception desk. You seemed pretty good at destruction yourself. They're freezing my accounts. The SEC is. She took a shaky breath. Olivia's summer program deposit? The internship? It's all gone. Funny how actions have consequences. She's devastated. She thinks she's lost everything, her future, her father, and now you. Don't you dare talk to me about my daughter. My voice cracked. You took her from me long before any of this. No, Marlo. You pushed her away with your rules and expectations.
She paused.
We gave her what you couldn't. The truth in her words stung worse than any lie. I hung up, hands shaking. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number, Olivia, using Ethan's phone. How could you do this to us? Dad might go to jail. Everything's ruined. I hate you. The movers asked where to put the last chair, but their voices seemed distant underwater. I pointed vaguely, then escaped to my new office, empty except for a desk and the dreams I'd traded my family for. Tommy found me there hours later, sitting in the dark. You missed the evening news, he said, flipping on the lights. Jenna's father had a heart attack after the SEC interview. He's in critical condition. I looked up sharply. What?
Yeah.
And Olivia. He hesitated. She tried to use her emergency credit card for a hotel. The one you gave her? It was declined because of the account transfer for this place. My chest tightened. Where is she? Staying with Ethan at some budget motel. Jenna's there too. All their assets are frozen. I stood up, grabbing my keys, but Tommy blocked the door. Don't, he said gently. You'll make it worse. They're already talking to lawyers about suing you for the college fund. Let them. I sank back into my chair. I have nothing left to lose anyway. That's not true. You have this. He gestured to the empty clinic. You have a fresh start. A fresh start. I laughed bitterly. I traded my daughter's future for an empty office and some waiting room furniture. You traded lies for truth, he corrected. The rest is just collateral damage. My phone buzzed again, another news alert. Someone had leaked photos of Ethan and Jenna to the press, including ones with Olivia. The comments were brutal, calling them everything from gold diggers to homewreckers. People speculating about my daughter's role in it all. I did this, I whispered. I wanted revenge, but not this. Tommy sat across from me. There's still time to what? Fix it. I showed him Olivia's text. She hates me. My husband's facing criminal charges. A man's in the hospital. And for what? So I could prove I wasn't powerless. He started to respond, but my phone lit up again. This time, it was my lawyer. Ethan's attorney called, she said when I answered. They're not just going after the college fund. They're claiming emotional distress, defamation. It's getting ugly, Marlo. After she hung up, I stood at my office window, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, my daughter was huddled in a cheap motel room. Her world collapsed around her. Because of me. Because I'd chosen revenge over redemption. What have I done? I whispered to my reflection in the dark glass. What have I become? The call came at 3 a.m, 2 weeks after the scandal broke. I almost didn't answer, but something made me grab my phone on the last ring. Mom, Olivia's voice was barely a whisper. I need help. I sat up, instantly alert. Where are you? The Sunset Motel on Highway 9, room 115. A pause, then, please hurry. I found her sitting on the curb outside the motel, a small duffel bag at her feet. Her hair was unwashed, her Stanford sweatshirt wrinkled. She looked smaller somehow, younger. They're getting married, she said as I approached. Dad and Jenna, right after his plea deal goes through. I sat beside her, careful to maintain distance. What happened? I heard them talking about how the marriage might help their case, make it look more legitimate. She wiped her eyes. They didn't know I was awake. Jenna said. She said I was useful for making everything look normal. My chest tightened, but I kept my voice neutral. And your father? He agreed. Her voice cracked. Said I helped sell their story. Made it easier to hide everything. A door slammed somewhere in the motel. Olivia flinched. I was so stupid, she whispered. I thought Jenna really cared. That she saw something in me Dad saw, something you didn't. I saw everything in you, I said quietly. That's why I pushed so hard. Maybe too hard. She turned to me, tears streaming now. I told the FBI everything today. About the fake receipts they had me deliver, the meetings I helped cover up. They said I might have to testify. Oh, honey. Dad was so angry. He said I betrayed them, that I ruined everything. She hugged herself tightly. But they ruined everything first, didn't they? They ruined us. Before I could respond, headlights swept across the parking lot. A familiar car pulled up, Ethan's. Olivia. He stormed toward us, Jenna close behind. What did you do? I stood, positioning myself between them and my daughter. Back off, Ethan. She talked to the feds. Jenna's perfectly maintained facade had cracked, showing the desperation beneath. After everything we did for her. Everything you did for her? I laughed harshly. You used her. Both of you. That's rich, coming from you. Ethan stepped closer. You're the one who stole her college fund, who leaked those photos to the press. Actually, Tommy's voice came from behind us, making everyone jump. I leaked those. Figured if you were going down, might as well make it spectacular. He moved to stand beside me, his presence steady and calm. Got it all on video, by the way. This touching family reunion might be interesting to your lawyers. Ethan's face contorted. You haven't changed, Marlo. Still trying to control everything, manipulate everyone. Stop it. Olivia stood up, her voice stronger than I'd heard in weeks. Just stop. I know what I did wrong, but at least I'm trying to fix it. You're still lying, still pretending this is someone else's fault. Olivia, sweetheart. Jenna reached for her, but Olivia stepped back.
Don't.
Don't pretend you care now. She grabbed her bag, then turned to me. Can we go home? Home. The word hung in the air between us, heavy with meaning. The clinic has an apartment upstairs, I said carefully. It's small, but perfect. She cut me off, already walking toward my car. This isn't over. Ethan called after us. Actually, it is. I turned back one last time. You can have your wedding, your plea deals, your lies. But you don't get her. Not anymore. In the car, Olivia stared straight ahead as we pulled away. I'm sorry, she whispered. For everything. Me too. I reached over and squeezed her hand. But maybe we can start over. Do better this time. She nodded, then asked quietly, the clinic, does it need any help? Like, maybe a part-time receptionist while I take some community college classes? For the first time in months, I felt something like hope. I think we might have an opening. Behind us, the motel's neon sign flickered and died, leaving only darkness in our rearview mirror. 6 months later, I stood in my clinic's waiting room, watching Olivia arrange fresh flowers at the reception desk. The morning sun caught her hair, reminding me of when she was little, how it would shine like copper in the light. First patients in 15 minutes, she said, checking the computer. Mrs. Chun for her follow-up. I nodded, remembering how nervous I'd been about our first patients. Now we had a steady stream of regulars, people who trusted us with their healing. The irony wasn't lost on me, how I'd found my way to helping others heal while trying to mend my own wounds. The mail cart rattled by outside, and Olivia went to collect our deliveries. She returned with a stack of envelopes, one of them cream-colored and expensive-looking. It's from Jenna, she said quietly, holding it out. My hand trembled slightly as I took it. Ethan's sentencing had been last week, 3 years, with possibility of parole. Jenna had gotten 18 months, her testimony against the company earning her a lighter sentence. Inside was a single page of expensive stationery. Marlo, they say revenge is best served cold, but healing needs warmth. Thank you for showing me the difference. I'm sorry for everything. Jenna.
P.S.
The trust fund my father set up for me? I've arranged for it to be transferred to Olivia when I start my sentence. It's not Stanford money, but it might help with community college. Consider it restitution. I looked up to find Olivia watching me, her expression uncertain. What does it say? Instead of answering, I handed her the letter. Watched her face as she read it, saw the complicated mix of emotions play across her features. Mom, she set the letter down carefully. Do you think people can really change? I paused, considering everything that had brought us here. I think sometimes we have to break before we can rebuild something stronger. The clinic's door chimed as Tommy walked in, carrying his usual morning coffee offering. He'd become a regular fixture here, helping with security systems and background checks for new staff. Sometimes I caught him looking at me in a way that made me wonder about second chances of a different kind. Mrs. Chen's early, he said, setting my coffee on the reception desk. Want me to tell her you'll be a few minutes? No, I smiled, watching Olivia arrange her desk for the day. We're ready. Later that evening, as we closed up, Olivia lingered by the door. I saw Dad yesterday, she said suddenly, at the visitor's center. I kept counting the day's receipts, giving her space to continue.
He asked about you.
About the clinic. She twisted her keys in her hands. I told him we're doing good, that we found our way back to each other. And what did he say? That he was glad. And sorry. She looked up at me. I didn't forgive him. Not yet, but maybe someday. I thought about Jenna's letter, about revenge and healing, about how sometimes the path forward isn't what we expect. Someday, I agreed, locking the cash drawer. Ready to head upstairs? I thought we could try that new pasta recipe. Actually, she smiled hesitantly. Tommy mentioned there's a new French restaurant downtown. Not as fancy as Le Petit Jardin, but I felt something shift in my chest, like a final piece settling into place. Dinner out sounds perfect. As we walked to our cars, I glanced back at the clinic sign. Green Wellness Center. Healing begins here. It wasn't the life I'd planned, but maybe it was the one we needed. Mom, Olivia called from her car. I love you. 3 simple words, but they held everything: forgiveness, understanding, hope. The revenge I'd sought had nearly destroyed us both, but here we were, rebuilding something new from the ashes of what we'd lost. I love you too, honey, I called back. See you at the restaurant. Sometimes I've learned the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's healing. It's growth. It's finding your way back to love, even when the path leads somewhere unexpected.